All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to another Push Moment episode. I'm super excited to be sitting with the one and only.
That pause is heavy.
Heavy. Now, I've known Danladi for how many years now?
It's well over 10, maybe closer to 15, maybe longer.
As in for way back,
It's been a while.
So here for now, for this purpose of this podcast,
Yeah.
Danladi is the CEO of Calligraphy Studios. Yeah. Amazing wedding photography. Amazing. I mean, you can see from this is mad, right? However, the first question I'm going to ask you. The first question I'm going to ask you is, I've always known you as 5 Mics. Where did that name come from?
The 5 Mics name, you're taking me back now.
Yeah,
you're taking me back
now.
We're
going back.
So first of all, thank you for having me. This is officially my first podcast, so I'm excited about this. Thanks for having me. 5 Mics, you're talking about 2000, something like that. It was actually, anybody that knows the Source magazine from back in the day knows that it was the biggest name in hip hop. It was the magazine was the biggest in hip hop, and they would rate albums 1 to 5 mics. Yeah, so if your album was 1 mic, then don't bother listening to it, right? And if it's 5 mics, it's classic. It's stuff of legend, right? So I had a group of friends who were rappers. I was the only one that wasn't a rapper, and they would write verses and I'll critique it. And one of them turned on me one day and said, "You, Seth, do you get what I mean? You don't even write and you don't even rap, and you're the one. Why are you the critic?" And I was young, I was bullish. So I went, okay, I will write, and I'll write better than you. And to prove it, the name I'm going to use is 5 Mics. I'm going to be the best at this.
Wow. So, I actually thought you were a rapper.
Okay.
Right, before.
Yeah.
So, which now brings me to the next question. And honestly, right, from the you I knew in school,
right,
and the you I know now. Is like the whole world different.
It's worlds apart.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, really? I'll tell you one funny thing.
Okay.
So, in school, I never knew, so I mean, you know how it is. I don't know how to put it, but I actually never knew where you were from.
Right. Okay.
Right? Until recently, we met at Zone 1.
Yeah.
And I heard you speaking, and I'm like,
yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, that blew my mind. So the question I want to ask you is,
okay,
what is the biggest misconception people have of you?
Oh, people have so many misconceptions of me. It's unbelievable. And to be fair, I don't blame them sometimes. I feel like I've been so many different people in my life, right? I have been the bookworm. Okay. I have been the rapper. I have been the dancer. I have been the architect. I am a photographer. Right? So
many expressions.
Exactly. Married now, so husband, father, all sorts of things. But probably the most recurrent one is, like you said, people find it difficult to guess where I'm from. Yeah. Like, a lot of people go, Kaduna. And I'm like, no.
I thought you were Kaduna, like as in, maybe because it was Zaria,
Yeah.
And then, I don't know.
Plus, I had a lot of Kaduna friends,
yes.
So, and I would spend a lot of time in KD on holidays and whatnot. I hung out a lot of Kaduna people.
You didn't stay in KD?
I have never lived in KD. I have never lived in KD at all. Me? Ever.
Whoa.
Ever, except if somebody's going to tell me that your childhood, there were 2 months that you lived in, except somebody, but never lived in KD. I just have a lot of friends. Like you said, Zaria, there are a lot of Kaduna people in school back in the day. So, I'd spend a lot of time, but I've never, anyway, so a lot of people go KD. And when I say no, then you see,
they say, calculation.
Okay.
So where?
So Yola? I'm like, no. And there's this thing I do with people. When I meet somebody the first time, they go, "Where are you from?" I'm like, I give you 10 guesses. Most times, people do not guess where I'm
Honestly,
from.
even if you give me 100,
Right.
that as in I wouldn't. Because I'll tell you why. I pride myself of being someone that is able to know where people are from.
Yeah, just
And what I do, I always trip people up. Like when I see and I know where you're from, I'll speak your language to you.
right.
Right? But in my wildest dreams,
Yeah.
I never guess. Like I'm good at placing people. So once I meet someone, I place you.
Yeah.
This is where you're from, and then I would have never.
I'm glad I was ducking your beams, you know?
Honestly, 'cause
Yeah, so I'm Nupe and I'm not from Niger. See, so that's another thing that trips people up, you know?
oh,
They go, like, oh, Nupe, so like you heard me speak Nupe, Nupe, and people just automatically
Niger.
go, okay, so
Yeah,
you're from
I'm from
Niger.
Niger.
But I'm not from Niger.
where you from?
Guess. I'm from Kwara State. Yes, I'm from Kwara State. There's a large population of Nupe people in Kwara.
You don't do
so
Kwara?
that's both my parents are Kwara State. So it's not even a mix. It's not like I am half this or half that, as in I am Kwara through and through. There is no, you know how people can go back three generations and say, okay, this person was from there. I am Kwara all through. Yeah, so we're off to a good start.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I
have you backpedaling. I have you backpedaling. So yeah.
What?
Yes, I'm Nupe. I'm from Kwara State. I'm from a place called Bada in Kwara State. My mom is from Patigi, which is the more popular place. So I often tell people, just say I'm from Patigi, but yeah, I'm from Kwara.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Like wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how did you start this photography journey?
So photography, how did I start photography? It's interesting. I've always done one creative thing or another. You know, we referenced when I used to rap. Wow. I did that for a bit. I'll draw as a kid. I only wanted to study architecture. You know how, as a child, what do you want to study? And this wants to be a pilot and a doctor. And a few years down the line, they changed their minds. Yeah. I never wavered from architect. I always wanted to be an architect. You know, because I don't know, I've always been a creative person. I've always had creative friends and whatnot. So I played around with a lot of these. You know, I'm grateful that I have these talents that I was able to sort of excel in so many different fields. But then, if I'm being honest, a lot of the things I did back in the day sort of took me away from what I felt was important. You know, family, I'd miss birthdays, I'd miss weddings because you had a show in that place, and you know. I just sort of reeled it back in, you know, family. Let me be around for family. But creativity is an itch. You must scratch it one way or another. Yeah. You know, one way or another, you must find a way to scratch that itch. Now, there are certain paths that you start to walk without realizing it. In a group of friends, I would be the one that everybody would say, here's my camera, take my picture. Do you get what I mean? Oh, that video you recorded, looks nice. You know, but in my mind, it's just one of those things. But then I had people who noticed it and kept nudging me to, you should buy a camera, right? You should buy a camera, right? And, being at a point where I was leaving a lot of the creative things I was doing behind, I needed something to get into. So people telling me, buy a camera. Okay, sure, why not? I was going to Burning Kebbi in 2015. It was the first time I was going to go that far. And I thought, perfect time to buy a camera. I don't know what I'll see along this journey, So yeah, I bought a camera December 2015, and 2 months later, I was shooting a wedding. like 2 months later, I was shooting a wedding. But first wedding I shot, they paid me 5K. Like, nice job. Something, buy credit or whatever, But hey, I appreciate that, for as the start, so to speak. I still have those pictures. I still have the very first pictures I took with a DSLR. Like, I don't delete anything. Yeah, I like the story. I like going back to see, So yeah, that was basically how I started photography. It was from wanting to shoot travel and landscapes and whatnot. And before I knew it, here I was shooting weddings. And I realized that weddings reminded me of when I was young. My family is really large. Like there's a ton of us. Like I could easily have 200 cousins, easily. Right? Now, if you have that, if your family is that large, you don't see each other all the time because this person is there and that person is there. We would always meet though at weddings. So person's wedding, everybody comes together. So when I started shooting weddings, I realized that seeing a lot of families sort of reunite, reunions and whatnot, meant it reminded me of my childhood, so gave me sort of like increased my passion for it, so to speak. It's creative, it's nostalgic, and there's money in it, so yeah.
Whoa. So it's not like it's not like you started it like as a business.
No, I didn't.
You just.
No, I didn't. I just bought a camera, wanted to take pictures of Benin Kebi, and that was it. It felt like I know it sounds corny when you say things like the universe is working, right? But it really felt like that's what it was. Because all of a sudden, you realize that this friend is about to get married, and that cousin is about to get married, and this person wants portraits for whatever, their company profile, and all of it, and just, you are in the midst of all of these people, and you've acquired a skill they all need. So...
Wow. Okay, so let me ask you, how do you then, I know there are a lot of people that are budding photographers, right? They've started, they followed followed their passion,
right?
But then they're not making money. So how are you able to transition from, was it deliberate? How are you able to transition from, okay, I'm a photographer for fun, to, hey guys, this is a business, this is the amount, this is the bill.
Yeah.
How do you transition?
Budding photographer. One thing that helps is when you get married and have children. You must reason, you must think business, But if being totally honest, it's a journey. You're lucky. A lot of people who are coming into the industry now are lucky because they have people who can lead them. They have people who were taking pictures when nobody cared for photographers. When everybody thought you're a photographer because you're not educated or because you don't have a job, and they looked down on people, and how in a lot of towns there was one or two photographers that everybody went to. It wasn't a popular thing. It wasn't and even in Nigeria, we're still adjusting right now. But 5, 6, 10 years ago, you couldn't go confidently and tell people and say, photographer. Even when I started out, I would meet people and say, hi, I'm an architect. But I take pictures as well. Just because that confidence was a bit lacking. Obviously, that's not the thing anymore. I don't even, it's in conversation now that I'm mentioning architecture. Now I'm a photographer and your house is nice. I can critique your house. This and this and this and this. And then you wonder, how do you know that? I'm like, yeah, I'm qualified to do that. But people starting in the industry right now, number one, you're lucky. You have a lot of resources. Number two, there's something that a lot of people need to learn. Nothing good, nothing successful comes like that. You need to learn the business before you can figure out what to charge for it, how to make money from it, how to keep the money that you make from it. Because unfortunately in the creative industry, nobody's teaching you about money. Everybody is teaching you how to harness this creativity, but nobody is teaching you how to sell it. Right? Nobody is teaching you that this is valuable. You need to understand why this is valuable, and this is how you should charge for that value, and this is how you should keep that money. that whole struggle artist, oh, he's creative, so he should be broke. Luckily, there's lots of parts now, people teaching, YouTube, all of these things. That means there are resources now to teach you on how to become a business person. I'm probably going on a tangent and not answering the question directly. But bottom line is, it took me a while to get to this point, to learn about the business. I needed to work and not be satisfied with what was coming. Because sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes you don't need a class. Sometimes you just need to put in work and then somebody pays you. And you think, all the work that I did, right? Sometimes that's all you need. And you go back to the drawing board and go, no, I feel like this is what I'll be more comfortable with. There are easier ways to get to it. There are metrics that, okay, if I'm doing this and I'm doing this, I'm doing this, right? But sometimes it's just a feeling. It's just, I need to do better. So for me, it's a measure of both of these things. I got to a point where I thought, the work I'm putting out is good. I need to be paid more than this. Then I invested in myself. I attended business classes. I have a business mentor, people that will tell me, these are the things you need. This is the structure you need. This is how you have to finance that structure, right? It took me a while to get here. So please join in the industry. You're welcome. There's a lot of space for photographers. I'm not one of those people that thinks, oh, there are photographers everywhere now. The market is saturated. So is the restaurant business. Exactly. But people eat, So yeah, there are photographers, but there's unofficially over 200 million of us in the country.
You can't even satisfy all the people that need their pictures taken. How many weddings can you go to in a day? And how many weddings happen in Nigeria every day, right? So yes, there is that, but then be patient, learn your trade, and then eventually you will learn the business. I don't think that you can learn business from day one, in my opinion. I feel like you need to get bitten and then you learn, right? Well, there's one of my friends that I was telling, he runs a business where he sells clothing, like apparel and stuff, and he was talking about how he needs 5 million to do this and do that. Like, dude, make a 50K mistake, right? Gather your 50K, make a mistake with it, invest in something that goes wrong. You will not die, you won't crumble off of 50K. But then by the time you have 500K, you can now manage it better.
You can do better because you learned your lesson with 50K. But if you get 5 million, and then you make a mistake with that 5 million, there is no, how do you recover from that? A lot of businesses don't recover from that. So take your time. Learn the trade, start small, grow as you proceed.
Awesome. So we'll get to business mentor.
Right.
But before then, I want to find out. So what do you think is more important, right? So passion or profit? Which should people chase? Because I know people, I think photography is like a calling. So you need to have passion for it. But so should it be that it's the passion that is driving you, or should you start saying that, look, listen, I need to first make money. I can't. Which one do you think comes first?
I don't think that they are mutually exclusive, right? You can be passionate about something and still want to make profit off of it. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Passion is important because there will be days that it will be difficult. There will be days that it will be hard and you question yourself. But because you're passionate about this thing, you brush it off and you go back at it. So passion is incredibly important. But then so is profit, right? Because passion doesn't pay your bills. You can't grow your enterprise on passion. True. I mean, you might meet people who want to join your company because, man, I heard you speak at so place and I saw the way you shot this and shot that. And that might bring them in. But it won't keep them. Because at the end of the day, you need to grease the engine, right? So passion is incredibly important. Like, if I'm being honest, I don't connect much with people who aren't passionate about what they do. I really respect passion, but then I'm looking for people that merge both. Yes, I love this thing. I absolutely love to take pictures. I love to paint. I love to wash and iron clothes, whatever it is. But then profit is just as important as passion. So I wouldn't pick one or the other. I think they go. There's Siamese twins. They go together, you know.
Awesome. So I mean, I love the fact that you're talking about how you invest in yourself, how you've gone to business classes, you have a business mentor.
Right.
Now, and I know you also read books.
Right.
What has been the three books that have changed your life the most?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Okay, so I have a bad habit of not finishing books.
Okay.
Right? Start off like that. I have a bad habit of not finishing books. I like books. I have books around. I read a chapter and then drop a book and then pick up that book and read a chapter. I think my sort of reading is piece by piece. So I could pick up a book, read the table of contents, and then flip through chapter 8. That sounds interesting. And read chapter 8 and put the book back down, right? Maybe because I have too many things, I find it difficult to sit and read a book from start to finish. But, yeah, so it'd be difficult for me to pick 3. But I'm not trying to, I know we get sensitive about religion and whatnot these days everywhere, but I would honestly say that the Quran is the most important book that has driven my business. Because what I'm learning about business is business is about people. Right? Business is about people. We usually think business, money. Business is people. People have to be willing to give you money and attention and gifts and whatever, right? So it's about the people first. And that book helps me deal with people. How do I make sure that I respect everybody? How do I make sure that when somebody greets me, I return the greeting equally or more, right? How do I make sure that when I'm measuring anything, I don't shortchange, right? I don't shortchange anybody off of, and measure, of course, that's how it's said in Hausa. When we talk about measure, we usually think, somebody's buying rice, so, measure, yeah. Mudu or whatever. But measure is also work hours. If you have a job and your work hours are 8 to 4, and you do 8:30 to 3:30, you owe your employer 1 hour. You're not measuring it right. If I tell you that I'm going to take pictures of you and I'm going to give you an album that is this pages, that is this size, and and then I
change the goalpost,
shift the goalpost, make the album a bit smaller,
to make small extra.
Right? Or when I'm editing the pictures, I go, I already edited 50. The rest, let me just batch edit, and So there are a lot of I honestly. Some people might think I'm just...
No, but this is powerful.
It really, I can't name 3. I get random information all over the place, but if I could name one. That'd be it.
I think that's a mistake we make, right? So let's even dive into it a bit.
Right.
I think a lot of us as Muslims, one of the mistakes we make is that the only thing we do is to recite the Quran.
Yeah.
We don't read it.
Well, yes.
Right? Even me, I know that a lot of times when I'm setting goals, like in Ramadan or monthly, I just said, you know what, I want to just do Khatam of the Quran and move on, But really and truly, recently, I've started really trying to deliberate on it. So I pick a verse, just really find out. And guess what I realized?
What?
Most of all these books that blow your mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of principles that you just... Yeah,
it's not from anywhere. So you're hearing them talk about some kind of things. I mean, one of the books that I really love is this Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist.
Yeah,
right?
I like The Alchemist. Yeah.
And so he's talking about the soul of the world, right? Where there's information and everything. And when I was reading that, I sat down one day, I thought about it. I was like, wait, is there any? So I always like to read these things, then come back to spirituality. And so I thought about it. I was like, is there anything that ties it?
Right.
And I realized that Lawh Mahfuz, all the information of the world is written there. It's written.
Yeah.
It's the tablet,
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy is not even that smart, Joe.
No, honestly, no, because there are laws that govern everything that we do. And these laws were set out from day one. From day one. So maybe once in a while you could tap into your higher self and you get some wisdom and think, yeah, me. And, some of these things have been around forever. And another thing that I think is huge and helps me that the Quran teaches is the idea of paying somebody. It's from a hadith. Paying somebody even before their sweat dries.
It makes your vendors want to keep working.
Yes, they'll come back. You don't push their salaries to 8th of next month, and agreed upon time as much as possible, as quickly. I don't know. That'd be my book. That'd be my.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. So I want to ask. So you talked about mentorship.
Yeah.
How has mentorship helped you?
Oh, it's been fantastic for me. I think that everybody, as much as you can, should get a mentor. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that you see all the time or you sit with all the time. Technology has even made these things easy, where you could just Zoom call the person or, whatever, call, text, whatever. But it's good to have somebody who is further along the path than you are, who you can go to and say, hey, this is what I'm going through right now. Is it normal? Have you been through it? How did you handle it? Advice. And it's been really good for me. First of all, there are things that you think you know, but when you meet somebody who reinforces them, then you go, yeah, okay, good, I'm on the right path. It helps. You walk more boldly, you put your chest out because, okay, I'm doing the right thing because this person who has achieved this level of success tells me that, yeah, that thing you're thinking is the right thing. But then you also need, there are puddles that they have dodged that they can help you, or rather, puddles that they fell in that they can help you dodge. Right? They had to learn the hard way. I said, if I do this, so for example, for photographers, we have what's called GAS, Gear Acquisition Syndrome. Photographers just think that my pictures will be world class if I just have the best cameras and the best. We don't learn the basics necessarily. So you see a lot of photographers in their first 2-3 years buy everything.
Sony Alpha.
Everything they can lay their eyes on and can afford, they buy. And then 4 years, 5 years, they're selling things off, and it's one camera and 2 lenses and one small light, because that's what they really need. Now, when you are starting off and you have a mentor that has been through this, they help you dodge, some of these things. My business as it is now wouldn't be where it is without a business coach. I wouldn't have the confidence to charge the prices that I charge without a business coach. Signing up for business class meant I was able to actually learn how to break down all my costs, all my expenses, so that I wasn't just guessing a figure or asking, hey, what do you guys charge? Or what do you charge? Okay, let me just try and sit in that, right? Let me sit in that ballpark or whatever. I know what I need to run my business per week, per month, per year. So I know what I must charge to keep my business running and then to make a profit. Right? So it has really helped me grow. I've grown from being a one-man, jack of all trades, do everything, to being able to hire staff now and take on people that I'm teaching and whatnot. And it all comes down to having a business mentor, somebody who teaches you about structure, about why you should build a business that you don't need 100% of your time. Be able to do other things, right? I mean, I'm a family man. If I'm going to do calligraphy 100% of the time, what happens to my family, for example, right? I have acquired a lot of knowledge. At what point do I teach? If I'm doing everything, if I'm holding 3 cameras and, so yeah, it's really been, I feel like I can sit down and measure this and this and this and this is better because business mentor. It's been fantastic for me.
And I think that's one of the things, like if in business, anything that is not measured cannot be managed. Anything
Right.
that is not managed cannot be changed, cannot grow.
Cannot grow.
And anything that doesn't grow remains stagnant. And in fact, after a while, it withers and dies.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Someone asked, like, what do you think, what has been the biggest challenge that you faced in your business and how did you overcome it? Because the reason why I'm asking you this is because a lot of people coming up are going to face challenges.
So, there are some challenges I feel are very, this is sort of peculiar, I don't know if that's the word, about the photography journey. I feel like two things are two things that everybody goes through, I believe, at least most of the photographers that I've spoken to. One is acceptance by the society, right? So earlier I mentioned it, how photographer is not yet seen in the same light as, like, there are people who would rather you were a clerk that just had a desk job somewhere, you were bored to death, there wasn't any real room for growth. Do you get what I mean? Your salary can barely, keep you going, but because you're a clerk at Ministry of something, it's easier to say, yeah, right? As opposed to a photographer who can probably make 3 times what that person makes per month in a week, right? There's still a perception that photography is for the people who are uneducated or don't have the right job postings or whatever. That challenge, that ideology, even though it's reduced now, the fact that it still exists means not a lot of people are willing to pay the fees that they should. Right? And even us photographers don't value ourselves, because even we're part of the same, we're coming out of the same society. We also have those limitations as well. A lot of us have those limitations. A lot of us do not understand the value that we provide, right? That, more than anything else, is what's limiting the fees that people are able to pay. So you notice that when you meet a photographer who is confident in his profession, who knows that his images can change lives, who knows that the world as it is now. So imagine 2020, imagine the height of COVID without photographers. There was a pandemic in almost exactly 100 years ago. We don't have any pictures. We don't know what it was like. But now, that's power.
I've never thought about it like that. But yeah.
That's power. Every single thing our president does is documented. Never happened before. It has never happened before that if the president meets with this person and that person and that person, that refresh your Instagram feed. Right? That's power of photography. Not to make myself sound, big or anything, but I've taken pictures that have made people cry. That's power. That's power. If I take a picture and somebody looks at it and goes, oh wow, I remember how I felt in this moment, or oh, this is so beautiful, I wish my dad who is no longer here could have been here. It means that when I come back next time and I say, this is what I charge, even if they can't afford me, they won't look down on me and say, well, is it not just being, right? They'll go, I get it. I can't afford it, but I get it. Right? So anyway, that mental block still exists. And second is, photography is expensive. It is, especially with the way the dollar just keeps jumping and climbing, right? It's expensive. I mean, you can get in, entry is easy. That's why we get, every day there's new people coming into the industry because entry is easy. You can get an entry-level camera used, right? And there you go. Get a flash, get a 50mm, and...
I mean, like my camera.
You know, you're saying they can't see the other things. The sound that this, anyway, right? So entry is easy. But the thing about gadgets is you quickly learn its limitations. You quickly learn that, okay, I'm now thinking ahead of what this thing can do. Now jumping, upgrading, then becomes a problem. That's what a lot of people suffer through. And if you know that this thing is limiting you and you can't afford to upgrade, you just kind of look for something else to do because it's hard to suffer through.
The limitation.
You know, it's like a car that can't enter gear 3. Right? So I would say that arguably the two biggest challenges would be the sort of limitation that the society has, how they view photography, and then the cost of equipment. But then there's also stuff like building a client base, right? We make the mistake of trying to get 100 clients. I don't think that that's smart.
Yeah.
I think that if you have 10 families,
You're good.
you're very good. I have a family, 7 sisters. They're all married. They all have kids. They call me for everything.
Everything.
Wedding, birthday, school graduation, Islamia graduation, anniversary, with everything. Right? So imagine that I had 10 of those. Imagine I had 5 of those. You know, I'd be good. Sometimes we get carried away by trying to get
100 million gazillion clients.
right? Meanwhile, concentrating on, I always say that the person that has paid you once is probably more important to your business than the person who never has. If this person has paid you, it means they've seen value in you. It means you had a transaction that went well. Cherish that person. Don't get carried away. Don't just, oh, okay, I've collected your money.
Move on to the next one.
You don't know what that next one has to hold. I'm not saying don't grow. I'm not saying don't scale. But keep these guys close. Whether it be phone calls to just say, hello, how are you doing? Hope you guys are doing okay. I just wanted to check up on you. Or it's a text message, bulk SMS, whatever.
WhatsApp.
Or it's WhatsApp. Or it's newsletters, right? Whatever. Make sure that you keep these people close. So that when you're going to look for the new guy, if the new guy doesn't come, you still have a solid foundation. You still have these guys who will root for you, who they will be sat at a table and they will say, let's bring so big name.
No.
And they will say, no, this guy. But he's not that good. We like his poor pictures or whatever. You get what I mean? It's because you sort of carry them along, you build a relationship. It's a referral business. It's referrals. It's, hey, this guy did my portrait. He should do yours. It's not as, and that's another reason why I advise people not to place too much importance on Instagram. Instagram is great for community.
Yeah.
Fantastic for community. But as a photographer, realize that you're not taking pictures to impress photographers.
You're taking pictures to impress your clients. True.
Right? So I would say limitation, mental limitation as in the lack of value for photography, the cost of upgrading photography equipment, and just building a solid base of clients.
Wow. This is like a masterclass.
Ah!
In fact, you know what? I'm even going to change the name. This episode is not a podcast. This episode is a masterclass on photography. Man, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You've added so much value. if people are looking for you, how can they find you? Without going to Kwara.
You will find me there, man. So at Calligraphy, everywhere online. Khalee graphy. No, let me just spell it. So people, I don't assume that people. So KHALEEGRAPHY on that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, right? And my studio. Maybe we'll throw on the studio address or something.
So I'll put the address on the show notes. Right?
Yeah.
Now, finally.
Okay.
What is one piece of advice that you give to budding business owners, people that are just starting in business, whether photographers, whatever?
Yeah.
One piece of advice that you have for them.
Ooh, one piece of advice is something that somebody told me. The great T.Y. Bello said, take care of your clients, take care of your colleagues, and take care of your work. CCW. So take care of your clients. Like I said earlier, don't just take people's money and forget about them. Turn them into at least friends, even if not family. And do the best you can for them. So don't edit their pictures at 30%. Don't print material with the cheapest guy that you can. Do little things like write them thank you notes, right? Take care of your clients. If they want a referral for a makeup artist, give them the best. Give them your best. Take care of your clients. Don't go and shoot and you're photographing them and you're like that. No, give your clients the best you can. Take care of your colleagues. Don't undercut your people. If somebody comes to you and says, I spoke to so-so person and they want to do this job for $1 million, don't be the guy that says, I'll do it for you for
500K.
Don't be that guy. Because you might make that 500K then. But then, not only are you bringing the industry down, because you are now telling this person that 500K will do the job, you're bringing the industry down, but then you're also bringing your brand down. Because one thing you're not looking at, you've told that client that you are the cheap option. You are the cheap option, right? So take care of your colleagues. Help out if you can. Not everybody likes to be critiqued, not everybody likes to be advised, but if you have somebody who you see, their work could use a bit of upgrading in this angle, hey, dude, see you. There's this thing where people think if I teach you what I know, then you'll be better than me. That's silly. It's ridiculous, right? So take care of your clients, take care of your colleagues, and take care of your work. Invest in yourself. Do better. Never get comfortable. Never think, I'm good enough to command this, I'm good enough to be on the podcast, I'm chilling. No. I mean, if I'm on a second podcast next week, then reach. Hopefully what I'm saying is going to help somebody. Definitely. So my reach has expanded if I'm on a second podcast. I shouldn't just rest on my laurels and go, I've made it now. Right? Improve yourself, take care of your clients, take care of your colleagues. I think that'd be...
All right, awesome. Now, to close.
Right.
I want you to spit some bars for us, freestyle.
No way.
Freestyle.
That is not happening. That is not happening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, bro.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
It was an absolute pleasure.
Amazing sitting down with the CEO of Calligraphy Studios.
Yes,
this is, and like I said, I'm in the Push Moments episode, I'm going to be bringing you amazing business owners. And guys, show some love. Follow them on Instagram at Calligraphy, KHALEEGRAPHY.
Yeah.
Follow them. Come and have your portrait shot. Now, I'm supposed to have my portrait shot, but I'll tell you why I haven't done it.
He's too busy.
It's because I haven't sewn new clothes. I'm serious. I had a conversation with my wife, and I said, you know what? We need to go and take portraits.
Right.
But I was like, I need to get new clothes because I feel like I want to have the dang.
So here's the thing. Here's another misconception that we have. And that is our job to educate our clients. I know that it's natural to say, before I get my portraits taken, I need to look the part or whatever. But what you're wearing, what I'm wearing, is perfect for portraits. One bold color. Not a lot of patterns. Not a lot of... So even if you must wear a Barbariga, don't go and over... Because what you're doing is you're dating that image. Because you're going to sew or make an outfit that is 2021.
But you need timeless.
You need timeless. You need timeless images.
Masterclass.
You know, so muted colors, nothing too loud, and forever those pictures will be relevant. Forever. Remove your Apple Watches when you're taking the portraits.
Really?
Yeah, because you're dating it.
Ah.
You're dating it.
Wow, guys. Like I said, follow and show some love. I'm gonna have a portrait taken. In fact, if there's time, right now.
We'll be honored.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Woo! This was amazing.
Kai.